And they were with you the whole time? The children? Where are you coming from? Huh? I'm going from East St. Louis. East St. Louis? Yeah, you got a little road rash right there. You said what? Wait for BMS to come check it out, like I said. Can you call somebody in the meantime? Call somebody. Can I drive with you? You can't drive. You can't drive. Because if he was driving, something wrong. If you try to call somebody. Say what? I can't drive regular people. You can't, not in the condition you're in. I can't get nobody drive. You can have somebody drive for you, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You can call somebody.
I'll clear it out for you, though. At least I can wear right here today. Or at least for now. I do want to put on my long dress. I have like this long tan dress I haven't worn in a while. I want to put that on with my yellow slippers. Be all la la, but we'll see if I have time for that. I don't know if I have time for that. Oh man, this Epstein is for the what is ooh. Yeah, we got a lot of this the end of the time. We got a lot
I
of
just put
sick
the button
people.
app in base 44. Guys, maybe just built an app.
Impossible. We can't code. Interesting.
Hillary Clinton is testifying before the House Oversight Committee about her tie to Jeffrey Epstein. Billionaire Bill Gates is apologizing over revelations in the files that he had affairs with two Russian women. But the Justice Department really has some explaining to do because the question is, why are there more than 50 pages missing from the files? Now, Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia is really demanding answers. Take a look. God bless you.
We have a survivor that made serious allegations against the president. Clearly, the FBI participated in some interviews and discussions with this survivor. But there's a series of documents and what appears to be possible interviews that the FBI conducted with the survivor that are actually missing, that we don't have access to. And to remind the public, we're viewing unredacted documents that the DOJ has in their possession. I'm very aware of the survivor, and why these documents are missing is a critical question right now for the DOJ.
And the DOJ has said it's reviewing whether Epstein reports were improperly withheld and will publish any documents that were improperly tagged in the review process. How's this answer going to go over, you think, with the millions of people who voted on the promise of him releasing all of the files being released?
I don't think very well, and I just think people need to understand sort of the process. When the FBI conducts an interview, you fill out the agent will fill out a form called a 302, and that form will generally outline everything that is said during an interview, everything that a victim or a survivor will say during an interview in the case of a sexual assault case. I did these cases. I work with FBI agents. This is how it happens. Now, there were 4 interviews of this particular person at 13 years old. So we're talking about a minor in 1983, a minor. And out of the 4 interviews, there were about 50 pages missing. So 3 of the interviews, the pages are missing. That is extremely unusual. These interviews took place several different days over different times. And the fact that an FBI agent would not have filed that report is next to nil. So those reports were filed. I want to know where those pages are.
What was
in those,
taken out?
well, we don't know what was taken out, but what we know is that Representative Garcia read about 50 pages left out. He did read an account of the president sexually assaulting that 13-year-old.
This president.
Yes. Well, you know what? These interviews.
Mike, tell me about his first purge. You heard me? Guess who it was? Bird, guess who it is? The little girl in the class, you know the boys, the little bad boys. They look like they Pacific. Hawaiian bird. You know what I'm talking about? She just cut her hair too. The one that's always kind of like Tim from the get go, and she lived going to the class before, and I was like, oh, huh? Yeah, sometimes he'd be like, yeah, with the little brother. I thought that was so cute.
Took place several different days. 83, a minor. And out of the 4 interviews, there were about 50 pages missing. So 3 of the interviews, the pages are missing. That is extremely unusual. These interviews took place several different days over different times, and the fact that an FBI agent would not have filed that report is next to nil. So those reports were filed. I want to know where those pages are.
What was taken out?
Well, we don't know what was taken out, but what we know is that Representative Garcia read about 50 pages left out. He did read an account of the president sexually assaulting that 13-year-old.
This president.
Yes.
Whoa.
You know what? I am grateful for the.
That's a big claim. That's the president of the United States.
Now, sexual assault case. I did these cases. I work with.
With millions of people who voted on the promise of him releasing all of the files being released.
I don't think very well, and I just think people need to understand sort of the process. When the FBI conducts an interview, you fill out the agent will fill out a form called a 302, and that form will generally outline everything that is said during an interview, everything that a victim or a survivor will say during an interview in the case of a sexual assault case. I did these cases. I work with FBI agents. This is how it happens. Now, there were 4 interviews of this particular person at 13 years old. So we're talking about a minor in 1983, a minor. And out of the 4 interviews,
1983.
there were about 50 pages missing. So 3 of the interviews, the pages are missing. That is extremely unusual. These interviews took place several different days over different times, and the fact that an FBI agent would not have filed that report is next to nil. So those reports were filed. I want to know where those pages are.
What was taken out?
Well, we don't know what was taken out.
That's a man. They know your secret. I want to talk to them. I'm online over here talking about why they said that they are claiming that the president of the United States In 1983, somebody had an interview with a 13, 15-year-old, something like that, saying that Donald Trump SA'd her. That is wild, crazy. Don't do that. Cause I like that saying.
But what we know is that Representative Garcia read about 50 pages left out. He did read an account of the president sexually assaulting that 13-year-old.
This president.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I am grateful for the full court press that are these representatives, from Garcia to Thomas Massey, Ro Khanna, Nancy Mace. They're keeping the pressure on, and every time I wake up, I am somewhat heartened to see levels of accountability. Small, there are resignations, there are honestly scarlet letters. I've never been a fan of just like wiping out people, but these specific people that are getting caught up in this, you can read their words because they have emails that you can read through and judge for yourself. And I am literally so happy that the survivors are getting drips of something right now, because it has been, this goes 30 years.
Get out here and take this trash
people
down
were
the
protected.
stairs.
What I hate
I heard
is the
you.
empty apologies.
I'm sorry.
Every day you read about someone having to say sorry. They knew what was in these files. They knew how they handled themselves. They are sorry they got caught. And I am grateful they got caught, because this was never political. It doesn't matter what jersey the person's wearing. It doesn't matter where they work. What matters is it was all powerful and rich people that continued to cover for each other for all of these crimes. So I am grateful for that.
I want to clarify to make sure people understand what happened here. More than 50 pages of missing from the release contain notes from several interviews.
Ain't nothing I want with no little boy.
The FBI conducted with a woman, as she pointed out, who claimed she was abused by Trump in 1983 when she was 13. And these are explain what this is, the words. Well, apparently in this document, and I want to be very careful here because these are allegations, and President Trump has consistently, unverified allegations, and President Trump has consistently denied all the allegations of any wrongdoing. But there was a presentation made by the FBI, and the witness stated that Jeffrey Epstein introduced her to Trump, who subsequently forced her head down and punched her in the head in response to something that she did.
Right. So what's really crazy to me is that, thinking of him giving this State of the Union and not even acknowledging that the survivors were there.
Right.
Not mentioning them. Not mentioning that, we are seeing American citizens being shot by their own government. He didn't mention any of that. He didn't mention their names either.
He wants it to go away.
I think he does, but
it's not a positive story. The only thing I would say is, though, the amount of disclosure we've had so far has been astonishing. I mean, you have to admit, it's been more than 3 million documents. It's why we have talked about it day in and day out on this show and everywhere else. And we want more of that. The president did sign the act from Congress that would disclose all this information. Right. And the DOJ does say that they are on it, and they will look for any pieces that were not included. So I just think before we jump to conclusions, there's still unsubstantiated allegations that were made in 2019 before the 2020 election. And so let's see before,
yes.
We know Democrats like to bash President Trump. That's
it's not about bashing Trump. Listen, you have people who are taking responsibility.
100%.
It's about powerful people taking advantage of young children. Like, there's no way.
Crime.
And so,
look at me, like, I don't know what grown people want with children. I don't understand.
He is at the tip of this iceberg, and he is the only person who we really have not heard from. Except to say, no, it never happened. It didn't.
Representative Massey and Mace are Republicans, and they are also calling for this.
And by the way, the FBI interviewed this woman, or this child, but she was a child at the time. Now she's a woman. 4 times. They must have had something in there that provoked them to do it 3 more times.
Well, let's find out what's going on.
There should have been 4 302s filled out.
Yes.
Right.
How do you?
This is why I'm addicted to, like, I think they call it doom scrolling, just to find something that make you laugh or feel better. Because it's just so sad. And even that, did you hear about you remember the former NASA engineer that got arrested for sexual assault? But I was like, baby, it's kind of weird. It's like a group of women. Remember I kept saying that was weird? Guess what? They dropped the charges 2 days before his court date. He flipped around and sued all the women in the city of Houston. Cause they arrested him at NASA. It was like a big thing. Like I was like, what the heck? Like, what did he do to him? What were they claiming? They were like conspiring against him. Are we really? Am I really ready to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning again? Am I ready for that? Iman opens up emotionally. Iman, I haven't seen Iman in an interview in a really long time.
Iman Shumpert, he sat down with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay. Let's take a listen to Iman talking about the last conversation he had with his dad.
Do you remember the last conversation you had with your father? Last convo, he just was like, man, you look good in them suits, man. Like, I like that you taking jobs now that you wearing that suit. And then he told me don't come home, finish filming, because we was filming the podcast. He got to go in the hospital. He'd be right back. Did you know your father was that sick? I mean, I knew he had to go in the hospital. I thought he just had some, like, people get older. Yeah. Yeah, if he was here, I'd probably just hug him, sit in his lap like a little kid.
Yeah. His dad passed away. He had announced that his dad passed away back in October of 2025. I just wanted to play this one on Iman talking about being a father, because he talked a lot about how his dad shaped who he is today, who he is as a dad, and he says without his dad, we wouldn't even be talking to him now.